Spain are officially one of the greatest international teams football has ever seen. They've just lifted their second World Cup. But this isn't just another trophy. It's proof of something football has been showing us for nearly 20 years.
Sevilla is arriving. Iniesta goes on the inside, and that's great!
Para Cesc para Iniesta. No hay fuera de juego. Vamos Iniesta.
Much again, Jordi Alba.
Whenever Barcelona are flying, Spain usually are too. And that's no fluke. Every time Spain have built their team around La Masia graduates, they've ended up right at the top of world football. That's exactly what happened in 2010. Spain beat the Netherlands to win their first ever World Cup with a squad built around Barcelona academy players. Carles Puyol was 32 and playing some of the best football of his career. Xavi Hernandez, at 30, was running matches for what many still call the greatest Barcelona side ever. Sergio Busquets. At just 22 years old, he earned the complete trust of Vicente del Bosque to balance the team, giving Xavi Hernandez and Xabi Alonso the freedom to organise the play. Andres Iniesta was only 26, another La Masia graduate, and he scored the goal that changed Spanish football forever. Now, 16 years later, history has repeated itself. Only this time, it's even more bonkers, because these lads aren't even in their prime yet. Most players dream of playing in a World Cup at this age. These boys have already won one. Just have a look at this. Lamine Yamal is only 19, and he's already a World Cup winner. Pau Cubarsí is also 19, and already a World Cup winner. Pedri is just 23. Eric Garcia is 25. Marc Cucurella is 27. Dani Olmo, the oldest of this core group, is only 28. This isn't just a talented squad. It's a squad built on Barcelona DNA, built on La Masia, and there's still one more player waiting in the wings. Fermin Lopez missed this World Cup because of the injury he picked up at the end of the season. But he's only 23, which means he'll have every chance to help Spain defend their title in 2030. Just think about that for a second. The heart of this team isn't reaching the end of its cycle, it's only just getting started. And that's what makes this side so frightening. It's not just about talent, it's about identity. The possession football, the calm under pressure, the pressing the second they lose the ball, the movement off it, the way they control space, none of that suddenly appears when players meet up with the national team. Those habits are drilled into them for years. And for Spain, that classroom has always been La Masia. This isn't the first time we've seen this story. It all started at Euro 2008.
Ganar y ganar y ganar y volver a ganar y ganar y ganar y ganar. ¿Me queréis que me tire media hora? Eso es el fútbol.
Luis Aragonés built a brilliant Spain side that won the country's second European Championship, with Xavi and Iniesta pulling the strings in midfield, while Puyol completely bossed the backline. Then came South Africa in 2010. Spain became world champions with 9 La Masia graduates in the World Cup winning squad. Then came Euro 2012. Spain retained the European Championship and completed one of the greatest international dynasties the game has ever seen by winning 3 major tournaments on the bounce. So here's the real question. Was any of this actually a coincidence? Not a chance. It was the result of years of planning, a crystal clear football philosophy, and a development system designed to produce players who all saw the game through exactly the same lens. That philosophy changed Spanish football forever. And here's the mad part. Whenever Barcelona have stopped being the backbone of the national team, Spain have stopped winning the biggest trophies. The greatest players in Spanish football history all came through La Masia. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Piqué, Puyol, Fabregas, Jordi Alba. They weren't just brilliant individuals, they were the foundation of the greatest era Spain have ever had. And the 2026 World Cup final gave us one last incredible image. Standing on the other side was Lionel Messi, another footballer developed at La Masia. It was a World Cup final covered in Blaugrana colours, and in the end, Spain came out on top. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, you realise something remarkable. La Masia didn't just build one of the greatest club sides in football history, it built the greatest generations the Spanish national team has ever known. So how did one football academy become powerful enough to shape the destiny of an entire nation? That's exactly what we're about to find out. Nothing lasts forever.
Oh, the header!
But before Spain's golden generation disappeared, it reached a level that very few international teams have ever touched. Euro 2012 wasn't just another trophy, it was the absolute peak of the football philosophy that had been built inside La Masia for more than a decade. Spain didn't simply dominate opponents, they controlled every second of every match. They finished as the tournament's top scorers with 12 goals while conceding just once in 6 games. They averaged 59% possession and nearly 700 passes every 90 minutes, even more than during their World Cup winning campaign campaign 2 years earlier. But the real difference wasn't the numbers, it was the understanding. Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta, Fabregas, Pedro, Piqué and Jordi Alba had all grown up learning exactly the same positional principles. They didn't need time to build chemistry, they already spoke the same football language. That allowed Vicente del Bosque to use Cesc Fabregas as a false nine, copying the role Lionel Messi had perfected at Barcelona. Every movement created confusion, every rotation opened new passing lanes. Spain didn't just keep possession, they manipulated the opposition. Nobody represented that style better than Andrés Iniesta. He was named player of the tournament after controlling games with his dribbling, his awareness and his ability to break defensive lines without forcing the play. Meanwhile, Xavi became the first player ever to register assists in 2 different European Championship finals. Then came Italy, a team that had looked brilliant throughout the tournament. Spain destroyed them 4-0. To this day, it remains the biggest victory ever recorded in a European Championship final or a World Cup final. This wasn't simply Spain's greatest team, it was the most complete version of La Masia football ever seen on the international stage. But that masterpiece didn't appear overnight. It had actually started 4 years earlier. Euro 2008 changed everything. For decades, Spain had always carried the same reputation. Incredible talent, but constant disappointment whenever the pressure became too big. Luis Aragonés changed that by doing something revolutionary. Instead of abandoning Spain's technical football, he trusted it even more. He built the team around Xavi and Iniesta, with Puyol leading the defence, and another La Masia graduate, Cesc Fabregas, becoming Spain's game-changing playmaker. Against Russia, Xavi scored, Iniesta dominated the midfield, and Fabregas produced 2 brilliant assists in a complete Blaugrana masterclass that sent Spain into the final. Then came Germany. Xavi controlled the entire match before threading the perfect through ball for Fernando Torres to score the only goal of the final. Spain had finally won their first major trophy since 1964. The footballing identity was born. 2 years later, that identity conquered the world. At the 2010 World Cup, Del Bosque built his team around an even bigger Barcelona core. Piqué, Puyol, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta and Pedro all started together, giving Spain complete control through the middle of the pitch. Even after the shocking defeat against Switzerland in the opening game, nobody panicked, because this group trusted the system more than the result. Against Paraguay, Piqué and Puyol survived a brutal physical battle before Iniesta produced one of the tournament's defining runs, setting up the move that David Villa eventually finished. Then came Germany, perhaps the greatest tactical performance Spain have ever produced. 6 Barcelona players started the match. Xavi dictated every minute, and Puyol powered home the winning header from a rehearsed corner. Finally, against the Netherlands, Busquets silenced Wesley Sneijder. Xavi kept Spain calm throughout extra time, and Iniesta wrote himself into football history by scoring the World Cup winning goal after receiving a perfect pass from another La Masia graduate, Cesc Fabregas. 3 major tournaments, 3 consecutive titles, the greatest international dynasty of the modern era, built around one football academy. But no dynasty lasts forever. After conquering the world, Spain suffered one of the most dramatic collapses international football has ever seen. And understanding why they fell is the key to understanding why this new generation has risen again. But then came one of the greatest collapses international football had ever seen. The 2014 World Cup changed everything. Spain arrived in Brazil as reigning world and European champions, but the team that had dominated football for 6 years was no longer the same. Their possession had lost its purpose.
Mal Iker Casillas, mal físicamente la selección española, baño de Bengala Vicente del Bosque. Analizaremos todo. ¿Hay opciones? Sí. ¿La selección puede despertar y debe hacerlo? Sí. Pero la imagen de hoy ha sido lamentable. Y algunos dicen, ¿ya estáis criticando a España? No, no. Hay que hablar de lo que ha hecho la selección española, la campeona del mundo, contra Holanda.
The Netherlands tore them apart 5-1. Chile then eliminated them after shutting down the midfield and preventing Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets from controlling the game.
Decir que la selección físicamente estaba hecha un desastre, decir que tácticamente nos ganó Van Gaal y nos ganó el técnico de Chile, decir que Xavi estaba mal, Hernández y Xabi Alonso tampoco estaba mejor, que jugó con ampolla Jordi Alba el primer partido, que Busquets está hecho unos zorros, que Casillas no para una. Sería el momento de decir todo eso.
Spain were out after just 2 matches. The biggest problem wasn't simply that the legends were getting older, it was that nobody could replace players like Xavi and Iniesta in their prime. The decline continued. Italy knocked them out in the round of 16, at Euro 2016. Hosts Russia eliminated them on penalties at the 2018 World Cup, despite Spain completing over 1,000 passes. Luis Enrique tried to restore Barcelona's DNA at Euro 2020, with Pedri leading a new generation, and Spain reached the semi-finals before losing to Italy on penalties. Then came Qatar 2022. After thrashing Costa Rica 7-0, Spain looked like contenders again, but Morocco exposed the same old problem. Spain dominated possession, but couldn't break down a compact defence, and were eliminated on penalties in the round of 16. For nearly a decade, it felt as though Spain would never produce another generation capable of matching Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets and the rest. But football moves in cycles, and while the world thought Spain's golden era was over, La Masia was quietly building the next one. Aragonés and Del Bosque built Spain's greatest era around Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol, Piqué and Pedro, players educated to interpret space, protect the ball, press after losing it and control matches through positioning. Spain needed that language again. Luis de la Fuente took charge of the senior team, while Santi Denia led the Olympic side. Together they recovered the real Barcelona DNA: intelligent positioning, technical superiority, aggressive pressing, and the courage to trust young players before the rest of the world believed they were ready. The face of that reconstruction was Lamine Yamal. At 16, he produced 7 goals and 9 assists in his first full Barcelona season. Against Villarreal, he delivered 2 assists, hit the post twice, and was named player of the match at 16 years and 45 days. Against Granada, he became the youngest goalscorer in La Liga history at 16 years and 87 days. He finished with 50 appearances and 7 goals, became Barcelona's most unpredictable attacker, and helped eliminate Napoli before creating Rafinha's goal against Paris Saint-Germain. Then came Euro 2024. At 16 years and 338 days, Lamine became the youngest player ever to appear at a European Championship, and that same night against Croatia, the youngest to register an assist. In the semi-final against France, at 16 years and 362 days, he became the tournament's youngest goalscorer, with one of the greatest strikes in European Championship history. One day after turning 17, he became the youngest player ever to contest and win a Euro final. He finished the tournament with 4 assists, more than anyone else. But Spain's new core went far beyond Lamine. Pedri became the organiser. Barcelona completed his education, shaping a midfielder who combined Xavi's awareness with Iniesta's ability to receive between lines, escape pressure, and carry the ball forward. De La Fuente gave him freedom ahead of the midfield. His tournament ended in the quarter-final against Germany after an early challenge forced him off injured, but by then his role in the new structure was already clear. Dani Olmo followed a different path. He left La Masia at 16, became Dinamo Zagreb's best player, and joined Leipzig in 2020. Yet his football still carried the same Barcelona education, receiving between lines, interpreting space early, and operating as a winger, attacking midfielder or false 9. At Euro 2024, he became decisive. He scored against Georgia in the round of 16, replaced the injured Pedri against Germany, and assisted Marino's goal in Spain's 2-1, and scored the first goal at quarter-final victory, then struck the winner against France in the semi-final. His 3 goals made him one of the tournament's 6 joint top scorers, and earned him a share of the Golden Boot. In the final, his biggest contribution came defensively, clearing Marc Guehi's late header off the line to preserve Spain's title. Marc Cucurella became another vital piece. Formed at La Masia, he arrived surrounded by doubts, with many expecting Alejandro Grimaldo to start. Instead, Cucurella took control of the left-back position through energy, tactical intelligence, and perfect timing. Against Italy, he completed all 51 of his passes, won 10 duels, recorded 11 defensive actions, and completely shut down attacks on his side. In the final against England, he delivered the low cross that Mikel Oyarzabal converted into the winning goal. While the senior team conquered Europe, Santi Denia was building the other half of Spain's future in Paris. Eric Garcia became the experienced leader of the Olympic defence after reviving his career at Girona. On loan from Barcelona, he started more than 30 matches, scored 5 goals, and helped Girona finish 3rd and reach the Champions League for the first time. His versatility allowed him to play at centre-back or right-back, step into midfield, and begin attacks with the calmness expected from a La Masia defender. Having already won silver at the Tokyo Olympics, he became the defensive reference Spain's under-23 team needed. Beside him was Pau Cubarsí. Cubarsí began 2023-24 between Barcelona's youth side and reserves. Within months, he became indispensable to Xavi. His defining quality was not physical power, it was anticipation. He could step forward to intercept without exposing the defence, defend aggressively without panicking, and break pressure with passes most centre-backs would never attempt. In March 2024, at only 17, he was asked to contain Victor Osimhen in the second leg of Barcelona's Champions League tie against Napoli. Cubarsí controlled one of Europe's most physically dominant strikers, helped Barcelona advance, and was named Player of the Match on his Champions League debut. He was left out of Euro 2024 to manage his workload, but travelled to the Olympic Games. Alongside Eric Garcia, he helped Spain defeat Japan, Morocco and France in the knockout rounds before winning gold. Fermín López supplied the goals. Xavi had given him his Barcelona debut during the 2023-24 season, but Fermín arrived in Paris still fighting to establish himself. He responded with 6 goals, attacking the box from midfield, arriving behind the striker and turning second balls into chances. Those 6 goals helped Spain win gold and made him the country's highest scoring player in a single Olympic football tournament. Euro 2024 and the Paris Olympics were not isolated triumphs. They were the birth of Spain's next golden generation. Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Dani Olmo and Cucurella conquered Europe. Cubarsí, Eric Garcia and Fermín conquered the Olympic Games. Different teams, different managers, the same football education. The clearest proof of their importance arrived in the 2025 Nations League final against Portugal. Spain scored twice, but the core behind their transformation was incomplete. Cubarsí, Dani Olmo and Gavi did not play. Pedri created Oyarzábal's goal, but was substituted after 75 minutes, while Lamine was taken off during extra time. Robin Lenormand and Dean Huijsen started in central defence. Both were talented, but with Cubarsí on the bench, Spain lost the defender most naturally suited to defending forward. Anticipating transitions and making progressive passes, Spain led twice. Portugal equalised twice. Nuno Mendes repeatedly attacked the spaces on Spain's right, and Cristiano Ronaldo escaped inside the area to score the second equaliser. Once Pedri left, Spain lost control. Once Lamine left, they lost their main 1-versus-1 threat. Without Olmo, they lacked another natural player between the lines. Without Cubarsí, they were less secure in transition and less ambitious from the back. Portugal survived extra time and won the shootout 5-3. It did not mean Spain lacked quality beyond Barcelona. Zubimendi, Fabian Ruiz, Nico Williams and Oyarzábal remained fundamental. It proved something subtler. Spain's system could function without its La Masia spine, but it was no longer complete. 1 year later at the 2026 World Cup, those connections returned. Cubarsí commanded the defence. Pedri and Olmo linked midfield with attack. Lamine stretched defensive structures from the right. Cucurella provided aggression and balance on the left. Pau Cubarsí stepped up in the semi-final against France, shutting down every opportunity for Mbappé and Barcola. And again in the final against England with an impressive sliding tackle in the dying seconds to prevent a potential equaliser. Similarly, Lamine Yamal shone against France, leaving Upamecano in his wake to score a goal disallowed, yes, but the talent, ability and threat Lamine poses are always evident. Spain became world champions for the second time. They conceded only 1 goal throughout the tournament, and Cubarsí was named the best young player after becoming the defensive cornerstone of a world champion at 19. Lamine was also only 19. When Xavi lifted the World Cup in 2010, he was 30. Iniesta was 26. Cubarsí and Lamine reached the summit more than a decade earlier, and La Masia still has more. Gavi remains young enough to lead Spain for years. Marc Bernal is developing into a powerful holding midfielder with the technique and progressive passing to succeed Rodri. Gerard Martin can play at left back or centre back. By 2030, Rodri, Aymeric Laporte and Cucurella will all be over 30, and Spain will defend their title on home soil while another transition begins. But this time the answers are already waiting. Lamine Yamal, Pau Cubarsí, Pedri, Dani Olmo, Gavi, Fermín López, Eric Garcia, Marc Bernal and Gerard Martin can lead the next era. Euro 2008 created Spain's identity. The 2010 World Cup confirmed it. Euro 2012 perfected it. After a decade of searching, Spain found it again by returning to the academy that built it. La Masia did not produce one unrepeatable golden generation. It built the spine of Spain's first world champions, and 16 years later, it built the spine of their second.